So go back to those 4 points. The first one you said was the competition, cooperation.
Yes, Darwinian theory by which
Yes.
we built our culture, because Darwinian theory is scientific and it says you want to survive, then you have to understand you're going to struggle and you're going to fight. And it turns out wrong, because survival is based on cooperation. A garden is not a battleground. A garden is a place of beauty and serenity.
Yes.
So when you look at the Garden of Eden, was it designed as a battleground? No, but according to Darwinian theory, it is. So who's right? Darwinian theory is wrong. Organisms adjust to the environment. As we make the environment bad, then the health of the humans get bad. Our health is the direct connection to the environment. And when a person is sick, it's not because they're generally organically anything wrong with them, except they're in complement to their perception or the way they respond to the environment. They see the environment as unhealthy, then they become unhealthy. Number two is the mechanisms of how the universe works. Well, that's physics. Physics is the science of mechanisms. That's why I say Newtonian mechanics, Newtonian physics, they're the same thing. Oh, then as physics equals mechanics. I go, absolutely. The mechanisms of how the universe work are physics. And I say, well, what's relevant? Because we live in a world based on an old belief system called Newtonian physics that says that there's a physical realm, it's separate from the energy realm, that the energy realm, physical realms don't interact with each other, and since your body is a physical thing, if you want to understand it, then you only look at the physical attributes of life.
Biomechanics.
Okay, and I go, well, that's interesting, except in 1925, physics changed its point of view because it recognized that atoms are actually not physical material. Atoms are vortices of energy. And if atoms are energy, then they're connected to the energy of everything. And therefore, the whole belief that energy and matter were separate is completely gone. And it says that energy and matter are one and the same. And I say, why is it relevant? Because now physics says energy is more significant in shaping matter. So that matter isn't shaping itself. Energy is shaping. And I go, what's energy? Thoughts are energy. The field of information is energy. I go, oh, you mean how you think changes your biology? I go, 100%. 100%. And all of a sudden it says, then your thoughts are influencing your health. I go, 100%. And why is it relevant? Because you've been led to believe that you have nothing to do with your health. The genes control that, and you don't. And it turns out, okay, and I say, well, what's controlling it? Not physical. It's the mind that is generating an energy field, and the cells become complementary to the mind. So health and disease, well, seen in the physical body is one level, health and disease is an energy at another level.
Yeah.
And whether we're living in harmony or disharmony, it determines whether we're in health or we're in disease. So all of a sudden it says, oh my goodness, the invisible world becomes profoundly important. So here's the joke, because science has separated itself from spirituality, and I say, okay, the new science is called quantum physics, and they talk about the energy field shaping us. I say, oh, the word energy field. What's the word field? And I say, oh, in physics, the word field means invisible moving forces that influence the physical world. I go, that's the same definition of spirit. Invisible moving forces that influence the physical world. I go, spirit was not scientific. Spirit was, there was observations that in some way were influencing us. Since 1925, the concept of spirit now becomes part of quantum physics. It's a nature of the mechanics of the universe. Rather than throwing spirituality out, not only do we bring it back in quantum physics, but we put it at a hierarchy because it says the energy field is what shapes the material field. Since the energy field, invisible moving forces, the same as this concept of spirit, then I can just say, oh, the ancient people were essentially right. There is a spiritual element to us that controls our biology. If you ignore that spiritual element, then you're missing the absolute control. So it says, okay, the biology is wrong because you're not a victim of your genes. The physics is wrong because you've left out the energy, and the energy is spirituality, and that's been talked about for thousands of years before there was science, so we've got to bring that back. And so we have the genes wrong, the physics wrong, and then I say, what about the evolution part? And I said, well, one belief in evolution is that it's a struggle for survival. So when we wake up in the morning, we're prepared to go out there and compete. And it turns out wrong. Evolution is not based on competition, it's based on cooperation. So your relationship to other people is going to have to change. If you think that you're creating your survival through competition, you don't realize that that competition is undermining you at this moment and precipitating this extinction phase that's coming. So it says, you better wake up and realize you want to survive, then begin to understand cooperation. because that's where it comes from, not competition. And then lastly, as I said, if the random mutations are responsible for us being here, because that's the first step in evolution, it's an accidental mutation, I ask you, Alan, a very simple question, and what's the purpose of human existence? And then you would go,
There
oh,
is none.
we got here by accident.
Exactly.
So there's no purpose for us to be here. So do
Exactly.
what the hell you want. And it's like, no. Every organism that nature brought in to the environment, it did so by an intention. Why? Because the previous organisms began to throw it out of balance. So you bring a new organism in to bring it balance. Why? Life is based on balance, homeostasis. If we have radical changes in temperature, radical changes in oxygen and carbon dioxide, these radical changes would devastate life. No, we live in a very nice zone. The temperatures run within a certain block. The atmosphere has a certain composition. And you say, oh, that's just an accident of physics. I go, no, no. The atmosphere, the environment, the temperatures are connected to the biosphere. If we change the biosphere, then we change the relationship of light. Why were we here? Because the Native Americans already knew the answer. We were here to tend the garden, not destroy the garden. We're destroying the garden. It's like, no, you want to survive? You are a piece of the garden. You evolved from the garden, not by accident, but by intention to bring harmony and balance. The higher an organism is on the evolutionary level, the more powerful they are in influencing the environment. I say, and where do we stand? And I go, well, it's pretty damn obvious where we stand. We're at the pyramid peak of controlling all this. Why? If we lean a little bit to the left, we change the environment this way. If we lean a little bit to the right, we change the environment that way. All of a sudden you start to realize, oh my goodness, we as a species are so powerful that we can move the environment. I go, yeah, and guess what? Without that knowledge that we were supposed to be creating balance, what have we done? We've created such an imbalance that our survival is now in total question. We didn't realize we were here to promote harmony, and what have we done? We promoted competition, struggle, and the issues that face us today.
Right, the issues of extinction, not just for ourselves, but for so many of the life forms that
Absolutely.
survive on and rely on balance in the earth. So, right.